What's up guys, the kid's good here, and today I'm going to give you my 4 tips for improving your KD at Fortnite. I'm also looking to do reviews of my subscribers' Fortnite footage for improvement, so if you're interested, let me know down in the comments or DM me on Instagram. As always, a huge thank you to all the subscribers. We're getting so close to our 250 subscriber goal. If you're new here, go ahead and smash the subscribe button, click the bell to turn the notifications on because I make Fortnite improvement videos weekly. So let's jump into my 4 tips for improving your KD at Fortnite. Alright guys, so today we are going to talk about some of the best methods that you can use to improve your KD in Fortnite. So I first want to start by saying that by using this particular method, it may lower your KD in the beginning, but I promise it will make you better at aiming and shooting just in general by doing this. So the very first tip that I have in regards to raising your KD is jump in the places that are very populated. So how I went about improving my KD is I actually would alternate games between jumping tilted and then I would jump to places where no one was, such as like Junk Junction. And what I'm doing when I do that type of strategy is I'll jump tilted knowing I probably won't win it, but it puts me in a position to get into a lot of early game engagement. And then I would go and jump Junk Junction, which would allow for me to get materials and get into more mid-game to late-game fights. So I may only see a couple of people before I either win or die, but it would help me work on my building. And then the next game I would jump tilted where I'd see, 10, 15 people and get into a ton of engagements. So if you really want to improve your KD, jump tilted several times in a row, and then go back into the Fortnite replay system and re-watch your fights that you got into and see what you did wrong and what you can do to improve when you're getting into these close quarter gunfights, because I promise by jumping highly populated areas and getting into a lot of engagements, and the most important part, going back and reviewing what you did wrong or what you could have done better, will improve your KD tremendously. And I totally get that jumping tilted after tilted after tilted can get really frustrating and infuriating, especially if you're not winning most of these gunfights, which is why I recommend, and what I personally did, is alternate jumping tilted and then jumping somewhere where there isn't anybody the next game, and then just taking turns doing that, because it'll keep it a little fresh. And by jumping in the other locations where there isn't anybody, always have something in the back of your mind you want to work on. So like for instance, if I wanted to work on my late game strategy, I would jump really far away from the circle. I would get all the materials and loot that I needed, and then I would slowly push in. I wouldn't take fights, I would really just try to get down to like the top 5, top 10 situations. And then if I would lose, I would go back and review it. And I think it's important that if you're trying to improve your Fortnite gameplay, not just playing casually to have fun, that every time you press the play button, you have something in the back of your mind that you want to work on, because it'll stay in the forefront of your brain every time you do something in the game, and you'll think, is this or isn't this what I should be doing to improve the certain aspect or skill that I'm trying to work on. The next tip that I have for you guys is, I've said it in a couple of other videos, but I want to go a little bit more in depth, and that is taking fights where you have the advantage and walking away from fights where you have the disadvantage, or repositioning until you have the advantage. This is one of the most important tips for the KD, because if you take a fight that you don't have the advantage in, obviously you're going to end up losing that fight unless you get incredibly lucky. So when you get into a fight, the moment you see somebody or they see you, the first thought that should pop into your brain is, do I have the advantage? Yes or no? If you do, take the fight. If you don't, then get into a position that gives you the advantage. Don't take the fight until you have the advantage. If you can learn to master this, I promise your KD will go up, because if you went back and looked at all the times you died, I guarantee more than half of the times you died, they were because you had the disadvantage. You probably had a better shot than the other guy, you may have been able to build better than the other guy, but because they had the advantage over you, whether that's height, maybe they had, more shields, you may only have 50 health, I guarantee that 9 out of 10 times that they have the advantage, and that's why you lost. So if you can be really quick to learn whether or not you have the advantage, and being able to reposition if you don't, is one of the key things to being able to improve your KD. Now I do want to take a moment to call out what happened in these last 2 fights. If you noticed, I only threw up one ramp or one wall mid-engagement with these guys. The reason that I do that is, especially if they're using an automatic weapon, is that wall will block a few shots. So if you can throw up a wall or two, as they're shooting, by the time they tear those down, they're ready to reload or switch weapons. That's when you catch them off guard, and that's when you can take them out of the game. So when you're getting into a fight like that, try to throw down a ramp or a wall. It's not necessarily to build up or over them, it's to block a few shots to force them to reload or switch weapons, and that's when you catch them off guard. Now the fourth and final tip that I have for you guys might sound pretty plain or vague, but it is confidence. Having confidence is one of the most important tips for raising your KD. The reason for this is if you get into an engagement with somebody and you don't have the utmost confidence that you're going to take them out, you might play scared and you might not play logical. Now, it's not to be confused with over-aggressive. Over-aggressive is when you're just taking fights where you have a disadvantage. Playing confident is once you have the advantage, just knowing that you are a better player and that you're going to take them out. It kind of goes back to that mindset that if you look good, you feel good, you play good. The same thing applies when you're playing Fortnite. If you think that you're the best, you'll probably take out most of the people because you're overly confident. So that wraps up the 4 tips that I have for improving your KD. Just a recap, so the 4 tips are jumping in highly populated areas that force you to get in a lot more engagements, which leads to the second tip, which is go back and review the footage after every game or every other game and learn what you did and what you could have done better, and then learn from those mistakes so that they don't happen again. The third tip was taking fights where you have the advantage and repositioning or walking away from a fight if you have a disadvantage. The fourth tip was confidence. Always think that you're the best going into every game, but not to be confused with over-aggressive gameplay. I really hope that these 4 tips can help all of you improve your KDs, and if you have any thoughts or ideas as to what worked for you and what can work for other people, be sure to let me know down in the comments, because there are a lot of people who read through the comments who, there may be something that worked for you that didn't work for me but would work for someone else. So please be sure to do that because it could help somebody else out. And if you have an idea for the next video that I make for Fortnite improvement, go ahead and let me know down in the comments, because sometimes I run out of ideas, or maybe there's something that you guys need improvement on that I haven't yet thought of. So if there is something you would like to see me do, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Not only will I try to make a video about it, but I will definitely be sure to give you a shout out on it as well. Thanks so much for watching, and like I said earlier, if you want me to review your Fortnite footage, go ahead and let me know down in the comments for details. As well as if you have an idea for my next Fortnite or gaming video, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out in my next video. So until next time.